Oh shit, what happened to you?
Damn.
Alrighty, let the games begin.
They definitely pay me too little for this. Stephen didn't clean up after himself. Again. Wednesday. It's not my favorite day, although it's certainly better than Monday. Awful. It would be good to finally repair the coffee machine. Another kidnapping this month. Okay, time to pull myself together.
Alright. Yo. This shit is on some bullshit again. No, it's actually getting sound okay.
And get back to work. I've already taken my pills, not looking to overdose.
So I was just attacking all of them to see if
Yeah,
we get the right one time.
I couldn't figure it out. It didn't make sense. Two head circles and there were two matches of both of them. I don't know what I was supposed to be looking for.
I need to set the camera first.
Here we are. I got Ocarina.
Ocarina.
Get in my arena.
This place is starting to look like a hoarder's dream. Now remember, Jack, don't forget, hit the record button this time.
Placed on the tripod in the other room.
Hopefully the new tripod is going to hold up.
What are you playing?
Autopsy Simulator.
Oh, okay.
I got it streaming on YouTube as well. I think it's lagging though. Let's see.
Now, I just have to get everything in frame.
I was clicking on your portrait and it wasn't changing to you.
This should be fine. November 20th, 1991. Time, 8:43 p.m.
I want to go all the way back to the beginning.
Recording for medical students from the University of Missouri. This autopsy is conducted by Jack Hanman. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the autopsy room. Today, you will have the dubious pleasure of following a full autopsy, step by step. For those of you who have already performed your first autopsy, this will refresh your basic knowledge. In turn, for those whose knowledge is only theoretical,
I hit it like 4 times.
I advise not to watch this after a meal. Scalpel, scissors, syringe, magnifying glass, knife. I guess I forgot to clean the knife. My old but trusted centrifuge. Ideal for all the fluid tests I need to perform during an autopsy. Scalpel, scissors, syringe, magnifying glass, knife. I guess I forgot to clean the knife.
I'm looking at the chalkboard.
Let's start.
This chalkboard.
Always wear an apron, mask, and gloves. Goggles are a must when the job is splashy. And in case of sharp accidents, it's worth having disinfectants at hand. It's true that you won't get ptomaine poisoning straight away. But if your liver or kidney aren't doing well, you may end up with diarrhea.
I'm just gonna pull all these all the way across.
The cadaver is placed on its back on the autopsy table.
Yeah.
The pathologist stands on the right.
Bro, somebody always falls off.
That's why I pulled them all the way across so that somebody did not fall off. Somebody still fell off. Oh, I almost got knocked off. That's crazy.
Of the deceased. Make sure that all the necessary tools are always at hand so that you don't have to run around looking for something like I do all the time. In the process of revealing and securing forensic evidence, it is difficult not to interfere with the original condition of the deceased. Written and photographic documentation plays a vital role throughout the entire examination process. During your research, be patient, inquisitive, but above all, attentive to detail. Many entries are visible at first glance, but sometimes they can be cover for more interesting stories. And lastly, remember that nothing teaches you self-narration like working with the dead. So get used to that fact. Now, onto the police folder. That will contain all sorts of pertinent information as to who the deceased might be and what potentially happened to them. So, the deceased was found on the outskirts of a parking lot at a gas station, where he often begged and persistently offered drivers to wash their car windows. The body was noticed by a station employee during the morning shift. Initially, he thought that someone had thrown some boots and a coat in a nearby ditch. It took him a moment to recognize the pile of clothes as the body of a man.
Damn.
Signs of libation were found around the body. Empty bottles, traces of an inept attempt to start a fire, and a scattered makeshift blanket. He worked most of his life at the local port dealing with unloaded cargo. He was fired for being drunk and starting fights. His son runs a hardware store on his own. His wife left him years ago. They both had no contact with the deceased. The deceased's name is Tobias Chambers, locally known as Old Toby. Homeless and
Old
unemployed for at
Toby.
least a couple of years. That's it. It's worth remembering the context around the scene of a death. This allows you to better interpret any traces found on the body. I shouldn't start the procedure without gloves. Now it's our turn to take some pictures for our files. If I can just remember where I left the camera. It's in here somewhere.
Let me get these clothes in the dryer real quick.
Aha! There you are. I knew it was here somewhere. As I mentioned at the beginning, before we begin the internal examination, we need to document the cadaver and the condition it arrived in. We begin with a full body photo. Try and stick to the top-down rule, but this is not always possible. Let's keep in mind it's all about the legibility, not the perfect frame. Voila! Now we move on to the next step, looking for traces. Take your time. Look at the corpse from different sides, from different angles, up close. You're looking for anything out of... That's something interesting. It will be necessary to check whether this injury was severe enough to cause damage to the brain. Some wounds in the feet and signs of frostbite, probably because the subject's shoes were too small. Hardened hands, worn out by physical work, and frostbite? The boiler yield wound looks old. I'll take a closer look later. In a moment, we will check which of our initial observations will be worthy of further consideration. But before we get to that, I need to write down some basic data. Scalpel, scissors, syringe, magnifying glass, knife. I guess I forgot to clean the knife. Scalpel, sitting. personal information. The deceased was unclothed. Date. Okay. As you can see, I note everything down on previously prepared forms. Every pathologist must keep a detailed record of every step of the autopsy. This not only allows you to track the procedure, but also collates the results together, upon which you may back up your conclusions. So, enough of the boring prep. Let's begin by taking a closer look at the spots I photographed earlier. For this, you're going to need a magnifying glass. Scalpel, scissors, syringe, magnifying glass, knife. I guess I forgot to clean the knife. Which spot first? I can confirm the presence of ecchymosis on the deceased man's head. The appearance indicates the intravital nature of the wound. Add alcohol, which I can clearly smell. And this was an accident just waiting to happen.
My bad, my bad.
It looks like a burn mark. No doubt painful, but it's not pertinent for this case. Here we can see frostbite on the fingertips. We can tell by the characteristic skin color. Definitely a painful mix of frostbite, abrasions, and blisters. Old Toby had been wearing shoes too small for him for a very long time. That's if he wore any at all. So far, there are a lot of superficial wounds, but only one serious injury to the head. Let's go back to our notes. First, I mark the location of the injuries and make notes for each one. So, the head wound. Definitely, even though this type of wound didn't contribute to the deceased, we're not in frost. If Toby's body was cold for a prolonged period, the frostbite could have resulted from the body's defense reaction. The safety of the internal organs is more important than fingers, nose, or ears. As you can see, we don't have much to go on. Let's write down what preliminary causes of death we can think of. Various types of accidents are a common cause of death among the homeless and the elderly. Perhaps old Toby slipped and accidentally hit his head. This is of no interest to us. The nights have been particularly nasty lately. Considering the conditions in which he slept, his body may have become hypothermic. Since the deceased clearly smelled of alcohol, I'll add alcohol poisoning to our list. We still have one thing left from the basics, rigor mortis. Well, we take our deceased by the hand, gradually re-raise it, now let it go. As you can see, the hand falls loose. What's the conclusion? Death must have occurred more than 72 hours ago. The police information appears correct. Head trauma seems the most promising, so we'll start there. For this, I need an oscillating saw. The cut is made from ear to ear. After which, we remove the skin and the top of the skull. After the basic examination, we can see that the brain's cerebral gyri in both hemispheres are symmetric. The brain looks good. Let's take a cross-section. Some pathologists prefer to examine organs without removing them. However, for me, it's much more convenient to examine them on a board, which we'll do. No. Pills. I need my pills. No. Everything pills. No. My pill. They should be in the bathroom.
Bruh, you nasty as hell. Touching brains and shit, and then you take some fucking pills of the same gloves. You nasty.
Holding a long, narrow blade knife in the dominant hand, we slowly cut the cranial nerves on both sides, all the time pulling the brain towards us. So far, so good. The hematoma seems to have had no effect on the brain. We can rule the fatal accident out as well. Brain is in good condition, so we have no choice but to proceed to the internal examination of the other organs. I grab a scalpel from my kit. The incision should be in the shape of a letter Y. We use a deep cut to reach all the way to the ribs and to penetrate the abdominal wall. All right. Now we peel back and separate the skin. Now, we need to remove the ribs. We'll need the loppers for this. Quite a satisfying crunch, for some anyway. After removing the cartilage, we can see widespread black and tarry deposits caused by smoking. Despite the tragic condition of the lungs, they are not the cause of death. Alice smoked too. It didn't kill her, but... what was I talking about? Lungs. Yes. Advanced inflammation. What now? The syringe. Now's a good time to collect some samples. Specifically 3. From the eye, the heart, and the bladder. I'm interested to see the concentration of alcohol in the body. Vitreous humor analysis is very useful in indicating long-term alcohol abuse. 5 milliliters from the left ventricle should do it. Left on the bladder, we draw about 10 milliliters of fluid. Now we take our samples to the centrifuge. But before I do that, I need to find my notebook. My dyscalculia means that I always double check the settings. Please excuse me while I run and fetch it. This whole thing is covered in stains. I should check this out under the microscope sometime. Let's get back to the examination. We put all of the samples into the rotor.
Okay, now I can do it. There was a quest that you had to pick up in order to actually do it. That awakening the machine one. So now I think I finally got it.
Now, we set the appropriate time and speed.
That's the quest. So the quest type or something. Let's give it a shot. See if it's like it. Okay, yeah, let's go to maintenance. Awakening the machine. Back to like, some shit. Alright. I'll be right back.
Okay, let's roll. Oh shit, the fuses again. A considerable collection. My old but trusted centrifuge. Ideal for all the fluid tests. My old but trusted centrifuge. Ideal for all the fluid tests I need to perform during an autopsy. My old but trusted centrifuge. Ideal for all the fluid tests I need to perform during an autopsy. Poor soul. I get cases like this more than any other. Poor soul. I get cases like this more than any other. My ideal for all the fluid tests I need to perform during an autopsy.
Do the test, like where?
I wasn't sure it would amount to anything, but the World Wide Web has been a blessing for speeding up my work. My old but trusted centrifuge. I get cases like this more. Poor soul. I get cases like this more than any other. Where were we? Oh yes, the blood alcohol concentration. Let's see what we've got here. Everything's separated as it should. Our lab is closed until tomorrow after the last, incident. However, considering that Toby's favorite eau de parfum appears to be ethanol, I'm guessing the results won't surprise me at all. Let's go further. We will now focus on the cardiovascular system, specifically the heart. We remove the organ and examine it closely. We look for dark hypoxic areas, clots, or other elements that stand out as abnormal. At first glance, the heart looks fine. The pulmonary trunk and aorta seem to be in good condition. There are no pathological changes that would have contributed to Toby's death. Now let's take a closer look at the stomach. Size is normal, health, and as expected, the stomach has no major external damage. We must now cut it open and inspect inside. We will do it carefully so that its contents do not spill out. We open the stomach along the greater curvature, from the heart to the pyloric end. Oh, I already feel like there's something left inside. Okay, large amount of gas, small amounts of yellow, grayish food content. Either our deceased hadn't eaten in days, or the bulk of his stomach had already found a way out. Looks like I'll have to find the missing pills. I need my pills.
You still nasty. Oh my god. Still ain't take the gloves off.
One is up. I'll add this. At first glance, the trachea looks normal. Same result as with the stomach. The external inspection doesn't tell us anything. This... While cutting such a small organ as the trachea, we must make a precise incision. To be able to cut with the very tip of the blade, we must hold the scalpel as we would a pen. And after careful examination and deduction, we've got it. A clogged trachea. It's time to summarize the whole thing.
Did he vomit to death? Died in his own vomit?
Based on the report and preliminary documentation, it's safe to assume that the deceased passed out after consumption of alcohol and then fell asleep on his back. Then, the gastric contents refluxed and flooded the airways, causing death. That's why we don't forget about the recovery position at dorm parties. And now it's all clear. The death was suffocation. Now, signature. The mystery is solved. But for us, this is not the end. First, the dead body needs to be cleaned up. For this, we will need to close the body and grab the needle. First, we unroll the skin flaps. And then, we sew the I'm using the baseball stitch technique. This stitching method is very strong and quick to do. Beautiful. Now we say goodbye to the deceased and put them safely in the fridge, ready for the next stage of their journey. God, I'm tired. I'll drop these samples off at the lab on the way to the bar. I'll call Steven. I don't...
Complete the prologue. Good job, Mike. Now the real challenge begins. Are you prepared? Maybe. What things might this bring? What the hell? Oh, goodness. Very
Forgive me. What? Christ. What a dream. Fuck.
late for work.
So much light everywhere. Some days, I just feel like setting fire to all this paperwork. I'm fed up with it. The remnants of last night's binge with Steven. I'm not sure if it's still edible. They certainly have more will to live than I do. The view isn't spectacular, but why does that car look familiar? It's been almost a year. She got it for her first day of work, and she broke it the same day. She said it was for luck. Till death do us part. I wasn't able to support her through this. It's always good to have something for a rainy day. She got it for her first day of work, and she broke it the same day. She said it was for luck. I really need to get this laundry done. A pill a day keeps the defective Jack away. It's a shame this won't help with my hangover. It's just too dirty to use. The fucking phone. Okay. I know I'm late. I'll be there soon. It's not like the dead are impatient.
Jack, no.
Alice? Who is this?
It's Charlotte Graves.
Oh God, I'm sorry. I didn't recognize you. I thought it was work calling.
It's okay. I hate it when work calls me at home, too. How is everything? We haven't talked since... you know.
Well, there are good days, and there are bad days. What can I say? At least I can hide away at work.
Well, you always were the most comfortable in the dissecting room. Listen, I have an unusual request.
Okay, how can I help?
It's nothing serious. I just wanted to ask. Do you have any pictures of Alice? Maybe one where the two of us are together? I'd love to have something to remind me of her.
I guess. I'm not sure. I'll look through her things.
Thank you. I'm sorry to trouble you with this. All this can't be easy for you.
I'll get through it somehow. I've been meaning to sort through her stuff for a while. Have you asked Stephen if he has anything?
Yes, I spoke with him this morning. He said he gave everything to their mother and that I should ask you.
I see.
Jack, I know you're trying. That you cope somehow. Stephen's there for you. Although, well, we all know how he can be. But, I mean, if you wanted to reminisce about Alice, talk.
I really should go now.
Yeah.
I overslept, I'm late for work, and I still have some errands to run on the way.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Sorry to keep you.
I'll look for something and send it over. Thanks for the call, and bye.
Oh, do you have my address?
Not on hand. You'd best remind me again.
292 Browning Lane, apartment 432, Johnson City, New York, 13790.
Got it. Thanks.
Thank
You ain't write that shit down. How you gonna go? How do you have it?
Just miss her so much.
Yeah, me too.
Love how you said I
that's
got
okay.
it, but he ain't write
Really,
shit down.
no problem.
Thank you. Take care, Jack.
You too, Charlotte. It was nice to hear you. Well, that was a bit unexpected. I should probably find something to send.
I can tell you what I'm about to make. This motherfucking deviled eggs.
Menu for today: dinner in town and takeaway coffee. The remnants of last night's binge with Stephen. I'm not sure if it's still edible. I'm not in the mood for music lately. An indispensable element of every office. I should really try and read a few of these. Some days, I just feel like sending. I'm fed up with it. Time flies, and probably doesn't have to get up to work. I still feel uneasy. At this time, Alice would probably be sitting here reading a book. I don't think it's going to rain. It hurts too much to look at these, but I can't throw them away. Alice used to joke that smoking near plants made cigarettes less harmful. Oh shit. Almost left the door open.
Oh, shit. Took your ass. Woo. Turkey ass. Turkey ass. Tell him. Everybody to the streets. But where the hell am I supposed to go? Well, that's not creepy. forced to find a picture.
Menu for today: dinner in town and takeaway coffee. They certainly have more will to live. The view isn't spectacular, but why does that car look familiar? Alice didn't like this portrait. Alice and Charlotte in Amsterdam. It's hard to believe they've known each other for so long. It would be better if Charlotte had this. It deserves to be on display, and not hidden in a drawer. time to go to work. I'm seriously late.
Damn.
I should grab some coffee and aspirin on the way.
Shut your ass up.
These fluorescent tubes are brutal.
Swear some badass kids right on the wall in the hallway. So they get their ass whooped. You don't ride in the house wall, you ride on the outside hallway walls.
I hope this helps, Charlotte. Okay. All done here. Time to go.
Yeah.
Huh?
What the fuck?
Damn. I forgot my jacket. Well. I'll brave it for tonight. Too bad.
What the hell?
Nice and fresh. At least it's peaceful here.
At least it's peaceful here.
Good evening, Mr. Ridley.
The timesheet Hammond.
Some corpses have more personality than this guy. Christ. Who leaves the window open in the middle of November? So I better check the answering machine.
Hi, Jack. I dropped by a little early today. I left the body with Ridley in the corridor. He wasn't sitting in the locker then, so maybe he'll even throw him into the room. Well, how are you doing? Yeah, I mean, it's your first birthday without her, and... This, I still have a hangover, and you know me, I run to the John like the neighbor's fucking dog. You know, today I slipped on his shit again. That fucking furball. He always has to shit next to my car. Anyway, I can't come over in the evening, but we'll catch up on the weekend, okay? Bye. I almost forgot. Charlotte called me this morning. She asked about you, so answer your calls, Jack. This time it's not a reprimand for being late.
That's par for the course. I wonder when this clown will learn to look under his feet.
Oh, look at that.
Birthday.
You're edible.
I actually forgot it was today. Alice make me muffins like these every birthday. Maybe later. I'm still hungover, and it might... okay. Joke's over. Apron, gloves, and get to work. Ah, man. I remember you. You were on that talent show. What was your name again? I need to order another batch of these. I've got to remember to do that later. And that's the whole point. Steven laughs at me for recording everything. He says I have a bigger collection of stuff like this than most of the creeps he's caught. November 21st, 1991. Time, 9:13 p.m. The autopsy is conducted by Jack Hanman. Lecture for the Medical University of Missouri. After yesterday's lecture, you should already know the ins and outs. So today we'll be consolidating our knowledge. So that's right, police folder. Ah, yes, Samantha Barker. Now I remember. There's probably gonna be a lot of chatter about this. When questioned, friends admitted that Samantha's last days before losing contact seemed extremely happy and found in her own apartment by police patrol. Officers were called during the interrogation. A friend of the deceased admitted that after her first album became a commercial success, she was hit with the deceased was found in her own apartment, in a semi-recumbent position on an armchair. Large quantities of alcohol and empty packets of sleeping pills were also found in the apartment. Well, let's see what... Okay, now we can continue with the examination. Again, begin by taking photographs of the cadaver. I guarantee that over time it will cease being embarrassing for you. First, we photograph the whole body. And now, any suspicious-looking marks or wounds. Interesting. Very uneven. We need to investigate this. Yes, I've seen this many times. Well, there's even more here. You don't get such bruises from a normal contusion. A few we will need to look into here. Notes prepared. Time to take a closer look. Some furrows have imprinted more strongly, others less, as if someone was undecided. The number of bruises suggests that there may have been some kind of tussle.
Bitch. Look at my way home. Damn. Why you gotta stump her out like that, cuz?
Such bruises are caused by either a very heavy blow or by some internal issues.
She got fucked up.
And here's something interesting. The skin of the deceased is covered with numerous blisters. Some of them are ruptured. Others still contain fluid residue.
She got fucked
More
up.
numerous blisters. We have some leads to investigate here. Let's write this down. On the neck, given the condition of the deceased. Currently, it's difficult to say, although it's easier to have abrasions on your feet. But the number and size of the blisters suggest that it's probably a matter of barbiturate poisoning. In general, such blisters usually appear in the case of mechanical abrasions, but due to the place of occurrence, this should be excluded. The most likely cause of such skin changes is the high concentration of barbiturates in the body, to be checked in the lab later. I'll add barbiturates to the list of necessary tests. Given the testimony of the victim's friend, I add alcohol poisoning to the list of potential causes of Miss Barker's death. A blood test will no doubt quickly verify that hypothesis. But first I'll check for external traces. For this we use the good old UV lamp. I look carefully at the whole body. UV rays will reveal any traces. The area around the torso, empty, without marks. Right hand clean. Legs, there's nothing here. The left hand seems to be fine. No marks. Ah, well, nothing to surprise us here. Now gently, we take the deceased by the hand, and we check for rigor mortis. Again, the hand falls freely. After yesterday, you should know what this means. Since we don't have a definitive lead, we will examine all the key organs one by one. So, I'm starting the internal inspection. I dissect the skin of the deceased. And I proceed to deflect the skin flaps. Compared with yesterday's body, the deceased has only trace amounts of adipose tissue. Now for the ribs. What do we have here? Or rather, what don't we have? There is certainly no sign of internal bleeding. Sometimes regarding bruising, it doesn't take much. My wife was constantly banging into furniture, walking into door frames. That's a wonder she never broke anything. Before I disembowel the deceased, I will take samples for toxicological tests to determine the alcohol content in the body. I just need my syringe. Just to be sure, I'm taking samples from 3 organs: the eyeball, the heart, and the bladder. Analysis will rule out, or confirm, alcohol poisoning as the cause of death. All done. I'll transfer these to the centrifuge. What was it? 15, 70, 10, 75? My old but ideal for all the fluid. My old but trusted centrifuge. Ideal for all the fluid tests I need to perform during an autopsy. Maybe one day I won't need my notebook. Numbers have never been my strong point. It's probably why I regularly forgot birthdays and anniversaries. I'm lucky Alice always forgave me.
$10.75.
Gently does it with this old thing. Handle with kid gloves.
Alcohol? No, I'm tripping.
I'm starting the centrifuge. Let's see what results come out. The laboratory is already open, so... Fucking hell! Ridley! Mr. Ridley! Where is he? The fuses need resetting. Fuck it. I'll do it myself. I swear there was a flashlight in here. Whatever. I know where the switches are anyway. First the right, and then the left. And voila. What? What the? Oh, for fuck's sake. Can't I work in peace?
Still dancing.
Jack Hanman speaking.
Easy, why so rude?
Steve? Sorry, man. This place is falling apart, and Ridley won't even lift a finger to help. You just can't work here.
Did the centrifuge strip the fuses again?
Yeah, eventually everything's gonna go up in smoke.
Look on the bright side. It's a free cremation with your autopsy.
Jesus, stop it. That shit pisses me off.
Okay, sorry, Jack. Anyway, I'm calling to ask how the autopsy's going. Soon there'll be journalists sniffing around for info, so best be ready.
I'll whiz through this in a couple of hours. It doesn't look like a complicated case to me. More of a formality. The report will be available in the morning.
Sounds great. Thanks. Phew! How's your head?
Well, my head seems better than yours. On the way to work.
Holy fuck. Jack, turn on the radio.
What? What's happening?
Quiet.
A 3-car police convoy was involved in an accident near Pete's Bay Bridge while transporting prisoners to Orleans Parish Prison. At the moment, we do not know the exact number of victims or whether any of the convicts escaped. However, the scale of the accident indicates a large number of victims, possibly even fatal ones. Police are on their way to investigate the incident and secure the area. We know that the injured prisoners are on death row. The police were to transport them to their execution, which was to take place tomorrow morning. Many of them are very dangerous criminals. We will report on the matter on an ongoing basis, so stay tuned with us.
What? Stephen, was Red Pete one of the passengers? He was, wasn't he? What if he survived?
Jack, I have to go. They want me on site.
What if he survived?
I gotta go. Talk to you later, okay?
What? Yeah, I don't want to hear that shit.
Calm down, Jack. Pills. You heard him, Jack. A serious accident. Lots of victims. He's definitely dead. Yes. Nothing's going to happen. Christ. I've got to get back to work.
Come on, man.
What? Technical break. At least I know I can pursue a career as a janitor if I need to. My own, but fucking hell! Alright, let's see if we And miraculously, yes. The samples did spin. I'll transfer them to the chromograph in the lab.
Shit game, what rack to put down?
A considerable collection. All right, let's load this up. I placed the test tubes in the rack. Now, just take 5 milliliters from each. Precisely. And the next. Five more. We put the prepared sample into the machine. Let's see what we have here. The results indicate that the deceased did consume alcohol shortly before her death. However, this is not an amount that could cause poisoning leading to death. Just slight inebriation. I can return to the body and continue the rest of the examination. The chromatograph results show that we can eliminate alcohol poisoning from our list of potential causes of death. However, remember that alcohol can affect the functioning of the entire body. It disturbs the heart rhythm, accelerating its rate, and dilutes the blood, which may result in more severe bleeding in the event of an accident. Also remember that alcohol affects the metabolism of drugs in the liver, which I'll now look at in more detail. First, I'll pick up the syringe again. I'll take samples from the liver and the heart to test the concentration of barbiturates in the body.
I can tell you one thing. You can't have no weak stomach to play this in. Autopsy Simulator.
That's enough. I'll do the test later. I'd best not try my luck with the centrifuge right now. Now I removed the liver. No lesions. However, it is slightly enlarged. Perhaps it's a slight inflammation or drug-induced damage. It may also be the result of the deposition of substances from drugs. Let's check the weight of the organ.
Damn, son.
The weight is 1,300 grams. The liver is enlarged. I'll move on to a cross-sectional study. Perhaps the enlargement is the result of early cancerous changes. The blade glides through smoothly. I don't feel like I'm encountering any changes with an unusual structure. No steatosis or cirrhosis. The liver is actually quite clean inside. The liver is basically healthy. We already know that the question is, what about drugs or other substances? I move on to the heart. Oh. At a glance, we can see signs of a heart attack. The deceased is definitely too young to have a heart attack due to natural causes. The liver is enlarged, not from alcohol poisoning, and the heart looks like it has collapsed. So, I guess we need to go to the centrifuge and check for these barbiturates. The last time I saw this kind of poisoning was a few years ago. I better check the data in my notebook. He was a middle-aged guy. He took his medication and forgot about it. So, he took another pill. He forgot again and took another one. All right.
It is. Because this is mobile.
We close the centrifuge and pray that it doesn't trip anything again.
Yes, it will.
It looks like our luck is in.
At least want to get the ball up on this one, then I may switch. Hop on my auto, so I gotta do 3 more.
We can take the samples to the lab now.
Oh wait, let me do this.
I wonder how she was able to get a hold of these drugs.
Hope I can do this solo.
Okay, 2 samples this time. Six milliliters each.
To this day.
I realize I was wondering.
Yeah.
Do you want me to queue up, or are you trying to do something?
I am doing the awakening the machine thing, but I didn't didn't realize it was a solo venture. There's nobody in here with me.
Nani?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to do as many waves as I can.
I gotta leave soonish.
Soonish.
I mean, I'll be
Well, let's see how much of it we find. Nothing surprising. Significant amounts of phenobarbital metabolites of hepatic origin. Looks like I'll have to check the contents of the deceased's stomach.
What the hell?
The tests showed that the collected blood contained enough barbiturates to cause cardiopulmonary collapse. The question now is whether it was an accident or a deliberate act. I'm proceeding to examine the stomach. Before extraction, I ligate the entire organ to prevent its contents from spilling out. Okay, I'm now cutting out the organ, which will move to the board for dissection. Normally, the stomach and intestines are full of surprises. But not this time. We see remnants of undigested food and a dense mass of pills. You don't take this many drugs by accident.
Breaks in between.
Length and width normal. No obvious pathological changes. Undigested drugs found in the stomach of the deceased. The direct cause of death was probably an overdose. I'll check the rest of the organs, and then the nervous system. We'll see how significant the marks on the neck are for the whole case. The deceased's trachea lungs are normal, no lesions. The victim was probably a smoker, but was unlikely to be in any serious danger. The deceased's intestine is normal. No clear pathological changes. Abdominal cavity checked off. We can check the brain.
Check the brain. Cut that bitch open. Like, what the hell?
I make a cut to open the lid of the victim's skull and remove the brain.
Could that be a joke?
Brain is normal. No obvious lesions. Alright. I need to dissect it on a board.
Ooh. Why that brain look like that with the book?
Using a knife, I carefully cut through the brain tissue. I peek inside a bit, and... I don't think there's anything worth noting. As expected, the deceased's brain is in excellent condition. No discoloration or changes due to hypoxia. There is still the matter of the marks on the neck. They look superficial, but who knows? Maybe the spinal cord has been severed. I need goggles and a saber saw. I think the goggles were in the desk drawer. Oh, they're out there.
So what?
Alice. Saw. I mean, saw. Fuck. I don't see it here. Oh. I know. I probably left it in the basement after its last cleaning.
I'll put the second match.
Mr. Ridley, I need a key to the basement.
It's in the social room.
Why is the key lying at the... never mind. Thank you.
Hey, Hammond. Did you hear about the convoy? Well, maybe you'll get a chance to relive your glory days and catch Red Beat again, huh?
Let's hope there won't be a need for that. If only he could put that much enthusiasm into his work. I get the feeling that searching through this rubbish is more pathogenic than working with corpses. Please, may this be the last trip. Why did the prison convoy have to get into an accident? Jack, take a deep breath. Deep, pleasantly cool breath. You're nearly finished with the autopsy. Then you can go home and rest.
Where the fuck is the basement?
I'll take the saw. Fuck! It's jammed! Doesn't anyone do maintenance around here? Damn hatch. Damn red Pete. Will I ever again? Will I ever be free of that fucking... If only... It would be easier if I put things away properly. Damn student lectures and their fucking props.
Been a while since I rode around on my rocket.
What the hell?
And like clockwork, he's already sleeping. Sorry for the short interruption. I hope you all took the opportunity to grab some coffee. And now that I have everything I need, I'll move on to revealing the spinal cord. is removed, I can see that the spinal cord was not severed. This shows that apart from the marks around the neck, hanging didn't negatively affect the condition of the deceased. Ladies and gentlemen, almost over. Now, to sum up and tidy away the body. The direct cause of Samantha Barker's death was a heart attack resulting from an overdose of barbiturates. Traces found on the body suggest that the overdose was a deliberate act, following a failed attempt to hang herself. The autopsy found no evidence or genetic materials indicating that death could have been the result of an attack. Third-party involvement must be excluded.
Supposed to be one to the right, to the left.
Autograph, and we can start sewing. In the 1950s and 1960s, the use of barbiturates for, I think... At home, it was a help and comfort. On death row, a farewell to the convicts. Well, we're done for today. Thank you for your attention. Tiring day. I can feel those hunger pains coming on. I guess I'll have to pick something up along the way. Gloves in the trash, leave the apron for cleaning. Now I can go. Camera. I didn't turn it off. A nightcap will do me good. Good night, Mr. Ridley. The police will pick up the body and accompanying documentation in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I guess there are actually two things in this world you can be certain of. Death and Ridley's reluctant attitude. Alright, maybe three things. My whiskey on the rocks when I get home.
Whiskey on the rocks again.
So cold. I guess I should have brought my jacket to work. This block can be quite intimidating when it's so quiet. Almost there. Stephen didn't want to go out for a drink tonight, so I'll drink my whiskey in the company of my TV. Shit. I forgot the muffin. Well, Ridley will have a nice treat for the night. I'm sure he'll be his happy, thankful self tomorrow.
There we go. I'll have one.
What? What? What the fuck? But I locked it. I'm sure of it. Who the fuck did this? I don't have anything valuable. Money. They must have stolen the money. Fuck! Great. That's all I need. What if it was Red Pete? Where? I need my pills. I can't get my thoughts together. Okay. I'm gonna have to report this to the police. Christ. Why did the neighbors not report anything? I'm calling Steven. Steven?
Now, Jack, I told you I'm going for a drink with you for another night in a row.
That's not why I'm ringing. Although I could do with one. Someone broke into my apartment.
What? Did anyone see anything? Have you called the police yet?
No, I don't think so. Anyway, no one contacted me. As for the police, I'm calling right now, officer.
All right. Do you want me to head around? Look for any trace evidence?
I don't know. No, I guess not. Honestly, I don't have the strength to deal with it right now. I just want to lie down.
Are you sure? Because it's no trouble at all.
I think so. I'm sorry. I just wanted to calm down a bit. I don't know. That's probably some stupid joke. Only money was stolen.
Money? From Alice's box? Oh, fuck. Listen, I can come over. I have the key. I'll drop by, do what I need to do, and you go get some sleep.
No, don't trouble yourself. Lately, I've been just so tired and distracted. I don't know. Maybe I forgot to close the apartment door on my way to work. If anything else is missing, I'll let you know and call the police.
All right. Just make sure you close it tonight. If you see anything weird tomorrow, let me know. Whoever did this may be watching you.
I don't think anyone is dumb enough to come back.
You're probably right. Take care, Jack. If you need anything, call me.
I promise I will. Thanks, Stephen. Sorry to bother you again. I've just been all over the place lately.
It's not a problem. Good night, Jack.
Good night. What? I guess I should clean this shit up. Where to start? Shit. The glass in this thing needs to be replaced.
Jack, why?
I think I'm just tired. There you go. To be honest, I could leave it like this. I still don't understand. Maybe I could barricade the door with this. I should pack this thing away. I have no interest in DIY at the moment. Now I'm sure I won't get caught up in these papers. Alice's family should really have some of these. That's enough for now. Jeez, I'm exhausted. I'll get the rest in the morning. What a mess.
Yore, yore.
Oh yeah, I should take my pills. I feel like it takes me forever to finish these things. That's enough. It will never look clean. I need to quickly change and finish getting ready. I'm gonna be late for work again. Got my keys, got my files. Check. Time to go. Remember to close the door properly, Jack. I'll ask the neighbors tomorrow if they saw anything suspicious. I wonder if Ridley fixed the coffee machine.
That was really salty.
Huh?
Definitely is.
What the hell?
I have those ones that are up there. Need a couple of them before they all disappear. They ain't even eating them. Pretty much. If you were, let us know. Chilling on yourself.
What the hell?
Maybe a bit optimistic. I'd better grab a coffee on the way. I'm exhausted. I wonder who Stephen brought in today. Good morning, Mr. Ridley. No, he's not here yet? No, I'll do without him.
I always forget about this one. Actually, that was perfect timing.
Almost there. Now for the tough part. The body needs to be moved. Where's Ridley when you need him?
Grants friendly targets a 15% chance to avoid all damage.
Alright. I just need some gloves and my apron. Then I can get to work.
But when I'm not in the raid, it increases to 100%.
I'm going to need my tape recorder for this. Autopsy dated November 22nd, 1991. 7:32 p.m. Led by Dr. Jack Hammond.
I'll take one of them timbers, though. Maybe two of them,
Huh? I begin by verifying the identity of... It's most likely Harper Lloyd, age 35. Found in a well-owned house by her neighbors, Leonard and Dorothy Chelsea. Reported missing for a week. Firefighters found the body after the Chelsea family began complaining that their tap water tasted strange, and at one point had begun to smell and turn a dark color.
Where did the ads come from?
It is also known that the deceased was diagnosed with affective bipolar disorder. Harper was placed on drug therapy, which she dropped out of fairly regularly. During her treatment, she was under the care of her common-law partner, Richard Benson, professional truck driver. The last person who had contact with the deceased was her partner. Harper's last message read as follows: "I'm gonna take a shit in their stupid well. Then we'll see who has the last laugh." Nice one. Police records also show that Mrs. Lloyd was in constant conflict with her neighbors. The constant parties and subsequent brawls made living in the area nearly impossible, especially when Lloyd's partner wasn't around. I proceed to open the bag and check the stick. The most important task in forensic identification of a drowned person is to distinguish whether the death occurred before or after entering the water. Okay, that could have been worse. I carefully removed the victim's clothes so as not to damage. The deceased one shoe was missing. I'm going to need the camera to document all possible suspicious marks. Definitely the first thing that stands out is the very advanced post-mortem gigantism. The skin of the deceased appears very delicate, smooth, and relaxed from being in the water for a long time. The whole body is extremely pale.
My whole body is extremely pale. What the hell? What did she do?
There are bruises and hemorrhages on the neck. These usually occur due to increased inhalation when fighting to breathe underwater. There are some obvious scratches on the skin. The skin on the hands can be easily separated from the body. The separation takes the form of a glove. The so-called washerwoman's skin on the feet. The deceased had indeed been in the water for a long time. It's likely that the deceased was lying on her back when she was fished out. Post-mortem markings are seen on the underside of the body. That is, on the back, thighs, and calves of the deceased.
Oh, it's an instant kill if I interrupt though.
So, after the preliminary exam, it's time to take a closer look at this. Today's date, the deceased was clothed. Rigor mortis does not need to be checked. Based on the state of decay, you can be sure it has subsided.
This one cool, I don't mind this.
Magnifying glass.
We see thick white foam in the mouth of the deceased, resulting from pulmonary edema. Foam is a characteristic in deaths due to drowning. The spots have a purplish blue-red hue, which is a typical sign of the death of the organism. There are obvious scratches on the skin, especially on the back and hands. These could be defensive wounds, evidence of some sort of altercation prior to death.
Are you about to eat those chicken? That chicken with the intention on eating dinner?
No obvious signs of struggle. The skin on the hands would have easily peeled away from the flesh. Some of the fingers have already lost their nails.
Right now. Well, no, the right's the way. 'Cause I gotta make some rice.
Yep, pretty typical. Liver mortis are formed as a result of putrefaction of blood in the veins.
What? Oh, you mean, okay, I got
Due to the fact that the deceased was wearing shoes all the time, her feet are in better condition than her hands. Nevertheless, we can still notice a clear, wavy skin and the so-called washerwoman's skin texture. Okay, that's probably enough to indicate a direction for further examination.
If you do it smothered like that, you don't want to talk about it.
I'd better note that down in the records. Marks found on the neck and foaming, those abrasions appear relatively. There doesn't seem to be anything. Diffuse spots are considering that his hands heavily wrinkled from submersion in water. Typical washerwoman's skin. Fortunately, in this case, maybe it's just their liver mortis of a different color, a simple trip, loss of balance, and as a result, you end up in a deep hole with no way out. That's all for now. Before I begin the dissection, I'll make sure the suggested identity is correct. The suitcase with the fingerprint equipment should be around here somewhere. Scalpel, scissors, syringe, magnifying glass, knife. I guess I forgot to clean the knife. Oh, here it is. With decomposing bodies, the tissue of the pads of the fingers tends to shrink. To remove these shrinkages, a mixture of glycerin or air is used.
I'm surprised she don't be asking for this.
If the body of the deceased is the fingerprint sheet, slipping fingers can make fingerprints illegible. I'm going to conduct a dactyloscopic examination. If in fact the deceased is in the police database, I will find her. Glycerin is injected successively between the nail and the skin of each finger. The substance then enters the fingertip, removing shrinkage and wrinkles.
Ooh.
Sorry, not that. Turtle. Turtle.
Now I take a brush. Only when the skin is taut and elastic can
I
you
kept
use
showing
ink.
her, and she was like, dog. And then I showed her the picture, and she looked at me like, fucking with me? Like, and then I'm like, what is it? She's like, turtle. And I was like, no. And then I was showing her the other side, and she's like, dog. Show her the picture. Like, all right, now I'm done playing. That's a turtle. I'm like, all right, no, that's a turtle. That is a turtle. But she was done. She was like, I'm convinced.
I think it's enough. In the case of drowning victims, you have to be extremely careful. The skin may fall off the hand like a glove when you take the print.
Show me a picture of a turtle. Expected me to tell you it's a dog. Stop playing with my time. That's all
I'll
I
use
am.
the fax machine to add the print into the system.
Ain't no believe. She know good doggone well that's what a turtle. That's a turtle. You can't tell her nothing different. Wouldn't try to. Wouldn't try to. Now you just insult. Up to the news. Turn it off. Okay, cool. There you go.
Oh, Jesus.
What the hell? Oh hell no! This bitch came fucking
Green
got up off the
button,
fucking
and
table and shit on some creepy shit. Bitch, you tripping? You better calm the fuck down. This bitch, I pulled out her mortgage and shit. She already lived up off the table and shit.
once the data uploads, I'll run the prints against the police database on the computer. Great. The data is there. Click upload. Now, go through the database and find a matching print. Expect possible hours of fun. One more. Okay. Let's check for matches. This is not our Jane Doe. I wish there was an easier way to do it. One more. Analyze button. And we have a result. Everyone, even if it's just a police record. So, as predicted, the deceased turned out to be Harper Lloyd. That went smoothly. I'll print this out and attach it to the medical records. Great. Now I can go back to my inspection. I'm adding the name of the deceased. I'll start the internal examination by taking fluid from the victim's brain. A needle inserted through the nose will do the trick.
Oh, that's how I heal.
If the victim was alive when she fell into the well, she must have swallowed water fighting for her life, and then diatoms, characteristics of pooled water like a well, got into the body. In the meantime, I'll check the sample under the microscope. I'm sure that these algae traces will be found in the samples taken from the well where police found the body. Now I need to adjust the knobs properly and place the diatom. I won't even notice an army of diatoms from this distance. The aperture still needs adjustment. Oh, I'm finally starting. And perfect. It's not a dirty and perfect. Great. This way I'll see if the aperture still needs. Oh, nah. Oh, I'm finally starting to see something here. It's not a dirty lens, I'm afraid, but rather a bad focus. I won't even notice an army of diatoms from this distance. Great. This way I'll see if I'm dealing with a large concentration of these algae. I won't even notice an army of diatoms from this distance. Great. This way I'll see if I'm dealing with a large concentration of these algae. It's not a dirty lens, I'm afraid. It's not a dirty lens, I'm afraid, but rather a bad focus. Nah, too much light. Oh, I'm finally starting to see something here. Nah, too much light. I won't be able to see the diatoms. No, I'm finally starting to see something here. I won't even notice an army of diatoms from this distance. Great. This way I'll see if I'm dealing with a large concentration of these algae. Perfect. As expected, we find the aforementioned algae in the solution. Their upper part, Epitheca, which overlaps the lower, Hypotheca, is clearly visible. The presence of diatoms in the brain samples taken indicate that the deceased was certainly alive when she fell into the water and was possibly conscious. Since there were diatoms in the brain, it means that many more of them must have entered the body. Studies of the rest of the organs will most likely confirm this hypothesis. I can finally get to the practical part. I must be extra careful because the skin of the deceased is very stretched. I wouldn't want an explosion here. You can immediately see a very large swelling of the organs. In addition, all internal organs are very congested. I proceed to remove the rib cage. It's easy to see that the ribs have been imprinted in the lungs. So, I'm going to start by drawing blood from the lungs for testing for diatoms. If diatoms were only present in the lungs, this would mean that the victim was placed in the well after death and the perpetrator wanted to get rid of the corpse in this way. Now, I remove the lungs and proceed to their examination. Taking the lungs in my hand, I feel that the tissues have lost their elasticity, which is the result of water emphysema, and as for the emphysema, which is corpses found in water are worth examining with a tomograph. However, I can't count on such luxuries, so I must reach for a more archaic technology: a bucket and water. Who? Has anyone been here? I hope no one dipped a mop in it. It's best to go to the lab for this.
LFR. First, not LFR. Second.
Scalpel, scissors, syringe, magnifying glass, knife.
There you go.